Okay.
You don't need to press your.
No, it's not it. It's you. Okay, just call the meeting in order. Roll call, please.
Delmeyer,
Here.
Kiesling,
Here.
Klinkhammer,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Reich.
Here. Okay, the first item as always will be citizen input. If anyone wishes to address the council, come forward to the podium, give your name and address for the record. Ask to keep your comments 2 minutes or less if at all possible. Be aware that if you come to the podium, council will not engage in dialogue. If you have questions, I will make notes, others will, but we will try to answer your questions when the agenda item comes up for discussion, but we will not engage in dialogue. So don't be offended if we just look like we're sitting here. I guarantee you they are listening and will be taking notes. They will hear you, but they will not be in a dialogue situation. So please, anybody address the council. We will take citizen input on any matter. Just come up, the microphone is on. Please try to use that if possible. If anybody on Zoom addresses the council, we will do that at the end. So we will remind you when that time comes. We'll take one last round for anybody on Zoom or in the chamber before we take it back to council for the consent agenda. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Mike Lawson, 1089 17th Street, Dyersville, Iowa. I'm actually here to just introduce myself to you individuals. I'm the Dubuque County Treasurer, and I try to get out to council meetings as much as I can throughout the county, just to introduce myself. Like I said, if I have not met you, and just pay attention to what's going on in your guys' community. Like it's probably a good meeting that I came to tonight, but pay attention and listen. So again, just want to introduce myself, and that was it. Thank you.
Hi, we are Kevin and Kathy Canfield, 2473 Radford Road. We have lived there for 34 years and we want to retire in our home. We have said a lot of our concerns at the last city council meeting, and you have tried to address them, but you are still taking away our privacy, our safety, our park-like backyards, and our neighborhood. We would like to address that on August 9th, 2022 council meeting, and I quote from the TH in the August 17th, 2022 edition. The council voted 4-1 for the 2-option roundabout. And in the end, the council chose the 2 roundabout option because of its lower costs and the relative impact on surrounding landowners. This option would require the relocation of Frog Hollow. Frog Hollow contacted the city, and now the council members have changed their minds. We are wondering what Frog Hollow had said. Frog Hollow is not a locally owned business. The owners are in North Liberty, Iowa. Frog Hollow has never attended any city council meetings. Frog Hollow, with their drop-offs and pickups, create a lot of the traffic at peak times of the day. We understand there is a need for daycare. We are just asking them to relocate their center. We, the citizens of Asbury, would like the council to listen to our voices. We, Kevin and I, along with Jim and Carla Bragg, have talked to our neighbors. We have walked the neighborhoods with the petition and have collected over 110 signatures from Asbury residents, including Asbury Circle, Asbury Park Place, Radford Road, Asbury Road, the Luther Manor Townhomes, who are in favor of the 2 roundabout option. And you have a copy of the petition I dropped off today to City Hall. These residents would be the most affected with phase 2. How many Asbury residents has the city council members talked to about the roundabout and asked their opinion? We would like the city council to reconsider the 2 roundabout option. We feel that option has the least input on our neighborhood, the safest way to move traffic through the intersection, the safest way to move pedestrian traffic, and the most cost-efficient way to improve the traffic condition at Radford and Asbury intersection. According to the 2019 MSA study, and I did read the whole thing just like Carla did, the total count of 4,726 cars a day travel on Radford Road. With the phase 2 option, over 15 properties would be affected directly, not to mention the surrounding neighbors. Why would anybody want that many cars going right next to their property? And then I ask, would any of you council members want that to come right next to your house? We also know the city has already purchased 2 of the properties needed for the phase 2, without phase 2 even being approved yet by the city council. Where did the funds come from to purchase these properties? And as the old saying goes, isn't this putting the cart before the horse? In conclusion, the City of Asbury's website mission statement states, Asbury values nature and open space along with a safe community living. The city is maintaining its goal of being a high-quality community where people live, learn, grow, and play. The kind of place that people call home. Well, you'd be taking away our open space in our backyard. You're going to be endangering the safety of our children, our grandchildren, our pets. Many mature trees will have to be removed for the road. And you are not creating a place people want to call home by disrupting their neighborhood. Thank you for listening, and I hope you will consider the 2 roundabout option again.
Great job.
Is this where we talk about the roundabout, or is that in the other part of the agenda? Okay.
I'm Carla Ray. I live at 5168 Rolling Hills Point. I came before this council in November and explained at length why I thought phase 2 of the Hayes Mills roundabout should be reconsidered. So I won't repeat that, and I'll try not to repeat what others have said. But I think we can all agree that the residents of this Asbury neighborhood are against putting a street through our backyard. It's just not a lake or a roundabout. It is a street with sidewalks that will need to be shoveled and grass, green space that will need to be. I would like to propose a temporary solution. Since phase 1 is a done deal and construction will begin in 2024 and it's fully funded, perhaps there could be a motion to put phase 2 on a temporary hold until 4 things happen. Number 1, we see how the traffic flow is after just 3 legs to the roundabout are up and running. You know, build it. Let's see what happens. Number 2, the city continues negotiations with Frog Hollow, maybe giving us a chance for a second roundabout. Number 3, put it on hold until funding is secured for the completion of phase 2 or a second roundabout. Number 4, put it on hold till the neighbors get a chance to look at detailed engineer's plans to see exactly where the road will go. Either way, phase 2 or, phase 2 or the second roundabout. I understand from the article that Kathy quoted that you guys already voted for 2 roundabouts in August of 2022. Yet a year later, you want to reconsider and do just one. I don't know what made you council members want to take another look at it. I assume you've done some studying over the last year and 4 months and learned something new. By the way, I don't consider that flip-flopping. I think when somebody has a plan and they learn something new and they decide to change that plan, they're smart people. You shouldn't stick to a plan just because you have a plan. So I assume there's something that you know that made phase 2 sound more viable. I'm surprised that you would think it was cost, because I can't imagine it would be any cheaper to pour all that cement. You know, a quarter of a mile of cement and sidewalks and guardrails. I don't know how it could possibly be cheaper. Maybe it is. I didn't do it. I wasn't in on any of the work sessions. Okay, if you did some studying, over the last year and 4 months. I think that's wonderful. But you have to realize that the people affected by your decision, putting that as a legitimate agenda item, reconsider it, we only heard about it in November, when we got the letter from the city saying, oh, guess what? We're gonna come through your neighborhood instead of doing the 2 roundabouts, which was publicized, okay? If the council wants to be transparent, then perhaps you could consider sharing with the citizens some of your reasoning for discarding your previous approved motion. I have no quarrel with that. I just am curious. I truly believe that roundabouts will make a safer east-west corridor through Astor. I have nothing against roundabouts. I think we need them. They should be built. Meanwhile, what would slowing down the process be heard? Please consider a motion to put phase 2 on temporary hold. And don't consider kicking the can down the road, because I know that you can change your mind again and bring it back up in another 6 months to go to roundabouts. You know what I mean? Apparently, that's doable. So I don't know why everything has to be set in stone tonight when we thought it was set in stone in August of 2022. I would say proceed with caution. Look at these few things. I think they're very important to know before you want to spend that kind of money. And I think the citizens deserve to know what's going on, where you're getting the money and stuff. So please consider just putting it on hold, slow it down. Nothing's gonna go away. How long is it gonna take to build the first one? I'm okay. I'll let it sit for a while. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna ask that we hold the applause to the end, please. Others address the council.
So we're here and we agree with what those 2 ladies said.
We just accept the podium like this, please. Right, we'll be able to answer.
Bill Lennox, I live at 4980 Asbury Circle. And I guess if you want each and every one of us to come up and say that we agree with them, I guess we can all do that. But as far as time to say, do we need to do that? Thank you.
Good evening, Dana Valadez, 2492 Radford Road. I would just like you to consider what this will do to our neighborhood and our neighbors and what we have here. We do love our neighborhood and we like to keep it the way it is. I don't believe a double roundabout would come through and directly affect everyone that I know and love. Whereas this 4th leg is going to come through and tear everyone up that's lived here forever. I'm just asking that you please reconsider your decision. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kim Hines. I live on 2432 Bradford Road. I just purchased that house 2 years ago from the family. The whole reason why I wanted that house in the beginning was the beautiful neighborhood. The way that I could see my life grow with that house. I just had a child there because of thinking of the great future that we have, the safety of that plot. Now, with this plan that you're probably going with, I do not agree with it. I do not like how the road is. It is really hitting corner to my parking lot, to my parking space. And it's going to be already hard enough to get out of because the people have to turn, people have to go up straight. I already have probably no problem. They can wait for after the school, but I just don't agree with this. I have to put my safety and the thoughts of how to get out of my new house also at stake.
I'm Steve Scott, 4894 Asbury Circle.
Oh, Michael did log in. Mike Canfield.
Someone do, sorry, agree.
Yeah, Steve Scott, 4894 Asbury Circle. I want to echo what everybody else is saying, and I'm just curious that, to what end, is there a discussion to be had even, if it's true that property's already been purchased on this? I'd be interested in what the contingency is if we don't move forward with this phase two. Because I can tell you all summer long, I heard all the power equipment, rebuilding that house. Now, they just poured the driveway, last month? And if that's already bought, then I guess, is this even an open discussion? That's what I wondered. So I want to throw that out there. And also, I share the concern with the loss of our trees. When I moved to Asbury, we had the grand oaks there by the church and school. And, they were chilled out by the parking lots, development in time, and you look over where that legs could go, it's gonna, you can't plant a 40-year-old tree. You can't. So I just wanted that.
Hi, my name is Rachel Weber, I'm on 5091 Asbury Road, so if this fourth leg goes in, there'll be a busy road in front of our house, the side, and in the back of our house. So I just ask that you guys reconsider, because I have 3 small children, and I just don't feel like we would be safe with my kids playing in the backyard. If we're surrounded by a busy road, and then if we are, we're gonna have to put up a fence, and the fence for a half acre is not cheap either, so. I would just like you guys to reconsider the 2 roundabout, because when we bought this house 2 years ago, that's the plan that we were told when we bought this house, that it's gonna be the 2 roundabout, and our house would not be affected at all, until we just found out, but a little over a month ago, that this 4th leg was gonna go in. Thank you.
Name's Ron Matt, 2452 Radford Road. I talked to people in November, and I guess my concern right now is when are we gonna see the final plan for this? And what is the start date, what is the completion date? My concern, because of the way it's set up now, I have an entry problem with in and out of my driveway. You're dumping all the traffic right in front of my house, right in front of my driveway. You know, you don't put a stop sign for the people coming out of the circle and the people coming out of Frog Hollow. So I guess the question again is, where's the final plans? And when are you gonna bring them up to the public? Thank you.
Anyone else, just council?
Brian Mazes, 513 Asbury. I'd just like to say that in the middle of my day today, I got a call. We rent from Luther Banner, and they notified us today that they'd be selling the house. And that's nothing I can do about. I didn't think it would happen sooner than our lease. And finding out less than 2 weeks before Christmas. And again, we knew it was gonna happen, we just didn't know it was gonna be dropped. We lived there 8 years. Having a roundabout in the front yard, our house sits back far enough that it would be minor, I think. We already have a crack in the foundation, the water comes in, I don't know how much worse that could be with construction going on around us. But I do know that the next phase that goes through our backyard over to Radford, you know, there's nothing that'll save the house. I think roundabouts are great. But it just, the interference with the neighborhood that I won't be living in any longer is just crummy. We've got good neighbors and we're happy.
This time, anybody on Zoom would like to address the council, you should be able to mute yourself. We'll open up the Zoom. Come back to the video on that time.
Rachel, would you like to speak?
If you're on Zoom and you can't connect, please use the chat feature. We'll try to connect with you there. Otherwise, we're gonna have to submit, don't attend to the council. All right, we'll take one last, request from the audience and when they address the council. Or if you can unmute yourself on Zoom, please do come out. Anything else? We're gonna move on to the consent agenda. Okay, remind you your mics are now on all the time, just so notice on the green light. We'll start with the consent agenda, for everything held for separate discussion. Motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
A motion to second, call roll please.
Miller,
Aye.
Reich,
Aye.
Delmeyer,
Aye.
Kiesling,
Aye.
Linkhammer.
Aye.
As approved 5-0, the first item is phase 2 roundabout in connection to Radford Road. Let me try to answer some questions first before council discuss. There have been no discussions in Frog Hollow. We had multiple attempts to contact them. We did have one meeting. They were absolutely livid that we would put the roundabout there and take away their business. If you feel the same way about your home. There was nothing changed as a result of that conversation. Actually, by the time we finally were able to pin them down and ask if they attended the meeting with Beth and myself, the second roundabout option was approved by council. They, like everybody else that we could think of at the time, were notified via letter that there were discussions ongoing with council about roundabout options along Asbury Road. So, Frog Hollow did not influence the decision one way or another. They have made no contact with myself. I don't know about the council members, but in 2 years plus, they have not talked to us. Why are we changing our mind? Remind everyone that the initial plan that was approved, this was after probably 2 years of studies and a whole lot of meetings and everything else. The council chose the option that we're talking about tonight, call it phase 2, but the preferred plan initially, after a lot of thought was put into it, a lot of work, was a single roundabout at the intersection of Hales Mill and Asbury that would essentially close the Radford Road intersection and then connect those two at some point south of Asbury Road, somewhere where you see today. There was a mid-block option that was considerably more expensive because of the acquisition and the sheer amount of roads that had to be built. And then there was also a third option of realigning realigning Hales Mill Road to meet up with Radford, where Radford is today. Costs were much higher there. And actually, the road would have to leave the city of Asbury into the county and then back in and meet. So that was not an option that was chosen. So they selected the single roundabout option. And give you some background. So then Luther Manor, I know we've been notified, so we didn't know anything about this. We have all these wonderful plans to expand our Luther Manor campus in Asbury, your roundabout's right through it. So they came back to the council and expressed their concerns, and the council listened, and that's when the second roundabout option came in, was then approved. Okay, so they did that. So fast forward to this year, Luther Manor is now in insolvency, as you know. Well, the properties that Luther Manor owns that were going to be used for that development now on the market. The gentleman who got called today by Luther Manor, that still has nothing to do with the city of Asbury. The receivership is selling all assets from Luther Manor to repay their debt. So whether the city buys them, flipper, developer who wants to tear it down and put in a gas station, whatever it may be, it's not the city driving the sale of this property. The city has simply looked at the opportunity came up that if we wanted to go back to the original preferred plan, we had to act now. Those properties are on the market. And I would tell you, yes, we did sign purchase agreements, 2 of them tonight. The price will be disclosed and the council will approve the purchase agreements. I will say, and I'm speaking for the council, is that doesn't mean their mind is made up. We had to make the decision to buy these properties while they're available. If not, it would have went on the open market, the price could have went up, and we might have had to buy them in 1, 2, 3, or 5 years. So council agreed the best thing to do, and they gave us a budget to work with. We acquired 2 properties thus far. And we feel we got a good price, and actually the one property was on the market, there were no bidders. So my personal opinion is that people are seeing that potentially the city would buy these anyhow, and there'll be a street there, so that their values have been maybe artificially depressed. So we made the decision, council made the decision to acquire the properties, and if they decide to stick with the dual roundabout, we'll just try to resell them again. I have a high level of confidence that we can get most of our money back, not all of it. The flippers, we made them a deal where we didn't have to pay them $35,000 more of improvements they're gonna do. So decisions were made with the best interest of tax dollars in mind. So at the end of the day, this all comes down to, there was an opportunity, there was a very small window for the council to go back and reconsider the original plan. I stress that the original plan was a single roundabout. That's why property was acquired. I don't believe we ramrodded this through or tried to slide under the table. This is at least the 3rd meeting we've had on this. I'm asking council to make a decision tonight because there's a lot of stress in here for you, and they need to give you an answer, whether it's the right one or not. They need to give you an answer, hopefully tonight. But that is essentially why where we are today. And with that, I'm going to turn over to council discussion.
I guess I'll start. I think that Jim addressed everything that I took down in my notes. It was brought up by the citizens. So I thank the mayor for his due diligence there. And again, I would probably just emphasize the same thing, that the roundabout option that we're looking at now was the first option that the council looked at years ago. It was not based on the Frog Hollow per se. Most of that was let known in the last meeting, if not by anyone else. It certainly was let known by me. I kind of brought all that stuff up in my discussion. I certainly do understand your concern, especially those people that are going to be directly involved with losing property. Unfortunately, the city can't progress and grow without some of these things happening. And I wish that it were possible, but when I got on the city council, the city was 2,700 people, and we're almost now 6,000. We have to take care of some of those traffic issues, and studies have been done, and this seems to be the best way to go. And that's kind of why I'm going to be voting for the phase 2 approval tonight.
Let me answer 2 more questions. So, the cost estimates for the dual roundabout sheer construction were higher than the single four-legged roundabout. And the acquisition costs they're fluid. Potentially the Fog Hollow acquisition, real estate only would be less than acquiring the 4 properties we discussed. However, if we were to displace Frog Hollow to the point that they went out of business, that cost could go up considerably. So the unknown is the acquisition cost. Potentially, if we acquire properties now for the four-legged versus 5 years down the road and trying to acquire Frog Hollow, maybe it's a wash. But in sheer numbers, engineer estimate on the cost of this construction of this option, it is a little bit cheaper. And we have put out the drawings. We have not spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars for engineers to do surveying and lay things out. I mean, they've got a 100-foot wide swath to put a 37-foot road in. So I am very confident with the drawings that we've released to the public. They are very, very close to where that road will land. There's things within 100 feet we can move away from properties and things like that. But so yeah, we haven't tried to hide anything that's out there. We can tell you about where the road's going to be, but we have not expended any money as far as significant engineering because we didn't feel it was necessary, just to see how the road laid in there in terms of will it fit and what we need to require. So thank you. I just want to clarify those 2 points.
We've had, I know I have, I'm sure the other city council have had a lot of sleepless nights over this. We have discussed it constantly for 2 years. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't get a citizen saying that traffic up there is just horrible. I'm fortunate I don't have to go by there, so I don't have to deal with it. And we do sympathize with the people that are going to be disruptive by it. They have addressed a lot of the questions at our last meeting about like the lights and the erosion and the guardrails, and that we do not take this lightly. We are very concerned about how we feel, and we appreciate the people coming to us and telling us how they feel. This is the best solution that we have come up with.
What is it?
Yeah. Please, no, council speaking, nobody disrupted you in your call. Somebody else did, but please let council set the table for discussion. Thank you.
The phase 2 is what we have decided would be the best for the citizens in this city.
Well, it wasn't only that we decided, it's a professional that we hired to tell us and help us go through this. You know, MSA, we brought in guys that did roundabouts up in Wisconsin quite a bit. And I'm not an engineer, so I rely on my engineers quite a bit. I would like to comment on Carla's comment about moving slow. I think we have been. I've been on the council for 16 years. We've tried to fix Hills Mill Road at least twice, if this would be the 3rd time. Remember, we lowered the hill, we moved it where the break point was. They're trying to make it safer and safer. And this was always in the back of our minds. If we could have went through the Hilton Fund with that. Not being able to do that, it changes everything. We're a small city, we're piecemealed in here, trying to do the best we can with trying to make it full for everyone. But I'll also remind you that phase 1 is going in, we've already done our due diligence with that. So we could slow the process down, or we could speed it up, or we could let it flow. So it all needs to be decided, but at least the first phase is going in. And maybe we will look at it and say it's not. But as Jim stated, we need to acquire these properties, we need to plan ahead. This probably, what do you think, is 5 years? No, for everything we go through, if we went with what's proposed with everything else.
I mean, you're only limited by what council wants to move forward on the project based on funding.
So what that amounts to is council changes every 2 years. You may have 3 people come in next year or in 2 years that says, well, no, I like the other option too. You never know what's going to happen, but we have to plan for the future and plan ahead. Or as Jim said, these properties we're acquiring now or want to acquire, they could be $500,000 instead of 200,000. So, I mean, we're trying to do the best we can with the information we have. Doesn't mean it's not gonna change in the next few years, but today, as we stand, the best option is to go with one roundabout.
I live on Halesville Road. I go through the Halesville Asbury intersection several times a day. This is something we've heard from residents for years, in which we need to do something to be able to improve that intersection. We've been fortunate that we haven't had any more critical accidents, and God forbid we haven't had any fatal ones. But because of this, we've been looking at our options and for many years on how we can improve this. This is where we started looking at roundabout options, and as you've heard the details of how those options came to cultivate into more what we're seeing today. And so, I mean, I think this is something we should be considering. Now, as you know, Hillsborough Road is a 35-mile-an-hour street. I moved onto that street, I raised 3 kids, and I have pets. It is something that does, as a parent, something else that weighs your mind. But it is also something that is very livable. I guess I'm just, I don't know where our point is on what we have to do to have people embrace that, yes, this could be a good answer for them, and yes, it's gonna be some changes. Yes, we have changed our minds on what we've done based on information provided to us. That's something that anyone on any sort of city government has probably seen. So I guess that's where I stand right now at this point. I mean, and as Bob mentioned, this is something that could tend to be fluid. So I appreciate your turnout, and I appreciate those that have put in their effort in making them aware of their feeling and expressing that to us.
I have a few comments. I'm gonna go back, way back when we started, even before this, the cost study, or MSA study on as far as traffic flow. I think you guys will remember, I was probably at that point pushing for 2 stoplights, one on each corner, and I think MSA discouraged that because of the flow and this and that. We've gone back and forth a lot on this. One of the things that I think we're trying to accomplish tonight is to give direction on which way we want to proceed. Now, there were no comments about a rounded end on the other thing either, which I think needs to be discussed. But one of the things that this is just direction, because quite honestly, until we see what the cost is going to be, you know, none of it may fly because we haven't had cost estimates, firm ones, from the construction level estimates yet. I think I'm of the opinion that we should proceed with phase 1, see how it works. I also am of the opinion that if we can save the taxpayer money by buying properties at a good price, we still need to do that. And as the mayor alluded to, if that isn't what happens, we can still sell them if we get them at a decent price. So we're not putting the city at risk, but we're potentially saving money to do that. I would recommend then that we go, with phase 1, which is pretty much a done deal. And then maybe recommend that if this is the best recommendation, but still take a look at, build phase 1 and then see how that affects everything before we commit firm, we're gonna say this is our general direction, or at least that's what I would say, but then hold off and see how things turn out after phase 1 is completed, because we may create a lot of money just off of Hales Mill. And then the other thing that we may know by then too, there's a property on that corner that we don't know what's gonna happen to the clock property, because that could impact whatever goes into that could have a dramatic impact on the traffic there too. I know we haven't had any fatal accidents off of Hales Mill, but I do know a couple mailboxes have been taken out a couple of times. And I know people that are sitting here that whose mailboxes it was. But I'm gonna say I think we keep acquiring the property. We go ahead with phase one. We can give general direction that this is the way we want to proceed, but, and someone asked earlier, from a time frame, what I think the time frame is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is phase one is scheduled for 2025, and that's when the grants are to take place. And then what we originally proposed was the next process, whether it was gonna be the 2 roundabouts or the new leg, was gonna proceed several years, in the future after that, as we try to secure additional funding and so on. But I think the purpose tonight is to try to let people know at least generally where we're going, because there are some properties along there that have to make some decisions, and I think that's what we're trying to do. But I would say phase one, I think phase two probably would end up being the road, but with a rounded end is my opinion. But I would hold off on whatever phase two is until after we have a little experience with phase one. So that's my 2 cents.
You brought up a good point, and when I asked council to consider one other thing is the original 4-legged roundabout had occurred where the rerouted road met with Radford, and then we kind of put an intersection there as a cost saving measure. Tonight, if you at least say we're gonna go with phase two, that's the preferred option. Again, to Russ's point, until the contract is awarded, nothing's guaranteed. Doesn't make you feel good if your house is in the middle of it or next to it, but I mean, the city has to plan for projects, and sometimes they don't happen because the council turns over. However, if you make that decision tonight, you've made about 99% decision in terms of where the road's gonna go and who's impacted. There's only been one property around, that's the Cruzies. So the engineers recommended a suite for the 4th leg meets there, and I ask that you consider making that part of your motion, that is part of the design. If you don't want to, I understand that, but you've got a property owner that could be sitting for 3 to 5 years not knowing if you're gonna take it from my yard. And I think they owe, just like the others, deserve an answer tonight, I think. I mean, you know what the engineers want. It costs less than $100,000. That's a very conservative estimate from the engineers. So the whole scheme of the project, I don't know, it's a showstopper, but you've got a homeowner in limbo right now. If you don't make a decision on the T versus around the intersection, and by the engineers, the intersection was my brilliant idea, just, I just ask that you consider, finalizing that piece. That could impact acquisition for us. I think it needs, I'm asking if you're gonna make. I'm saying if you're gonna make a decision on the 4th leg going through, impacting all these properties, why leave one on the list if you think you want that curved intersection? Why wait to make that decision 3 to 5 years from now? That's all I'm saying. You've already made 99% of the decision in terms of property and diagram. Anyway, we met with the Cruzies and we understand where they're coming from and they're willing to work with us, but I need to know that that direction, that option is one you want to consider. And find out that it's coming. Well, I need a motion on, what design you want. You want to move forward, move from the 2 roundabout to the single, and how do you potentially propose the connection to Red Road North, such as it was originally drawn and recommended by the engineers?
I personally, I think the curve is the way to go. I don't like that T intersection that we had in the other map.
That yellow section of the top of Radford Road is closed. The Radford Road is closed at its top.
And that allows us to shift the road to the south further. It's less impact on Candy Fields specifically. Anyhow, this was the design that was originally proposed, and through the intersection, the cost savings, which in the end is probably insignificant, minimal compared to the overall cost. That's all I'm asking is, don't let one property remain.
And for clarification purposes, if a motion were to be made, we would make a motion to go with phase two with the curved option. Would that be acceptable, Mike?
Yeah, we just need to, we know as staff, we need to know as a council what your plans are going forward.
Well, I think our plan going forward is to just go with the three-legged roundabout, but our long-term plan would be to look at if that doesn't work or doesn't work the way we think it's gonna work, or it is gonna work, then we would go with this option, which would be phase two with the curve, no stops, and we want the curve at the bottom, the Radford close. And then that's what we proceed, but this could be, it's gonna be some.
Right, but your phase two today is the second round, right? That's phase two, the second round.
No.
No, I mean, the phase two, you have a two-phase approach today that you approved. Roundabout at Asbury and Hales Mill, then the second roundabout. Then you approved two roundabouts in two phases, did you not? You're building one in 2025.
Yeah.
And you plan to build the second one at some point in the future, correct? So that's phase 2A, if you will.
I think it's.
Let me, no. That's one it's your point. You have a phase two already today. You have a two roundabout option. You're doing one in 2025. You have a second one planned in the future. So what I'm asking you tonight is, are you going to keep that plan, or is your second phase going to be the four-legged roundabout with or without the curved intersection? Right? I mean, you have a two-phase option right now. Oh, I'm done, okay.
So we're not committing, if we approve that, we're still gonna approach, we're gonna build the three-legged one in 25. I'm trying to address the question about when that someone raised. Approximately 2020, well, we know 2025 is when the three-legged one, and for the people in the audience, three-legged one is just the top three legs of that roundabout that's at the top of the picture. It's, Beth will bring it up here and show you, but that would be and then there's two roundabout approach with a new phase two.
Four-legged, right, yeah, you want two three-legged?
This is in 2025, right now, that's been approved, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then the next thing that we're trying to do is we're gonna change from two roundabouts to that other one, but I wanna make sure that we do, if we do this one, but we delay or at least maybe a couple, 3 years at least on phase two.
But that's the case if you do it, but if you do.
And it depends on funding.
But if you do phase one, you haven't committed to doing phase two with the second roundabout either. It's the same concept. You're gonna wait and see when that's needed, when there's funding. The question is, what does your second phase look like? Roundabout at Asbury Radford or a fourth leg at Asbury Hills Mill? And that's all I'm asking is, which one is your second? How do you address Radford and Asbury?
Yeah, but your option is, even if we don't proceed with what's on the board right now, we should still let the people know that this is the direction that we're heading.
That's what you're doing tonight. You're setting, like Bob said, you're setting what you believe is the best thing to do based on what you know today, what the five people at the table are today. Just like you did when you approved, went from this back to the two-legged roundabout. I guess my point is, you make this motion, it puts everybody on notice of what your plans are. Just like you put everybody on notice, that you're gonna take their property at some point. It's no different. We just don't have an answer, whatever that may be, and then at some point, as acquisitions and funding and council opinions and, your point, how the first roundabout works, you may throw this out the window in 2 years. I mean, anybody can do what you want. You can change your mind as can council in 2 years.
That being said, then I would make a motion to proceed in time with this particular option that is on the board. That would be phase 2 with the 4-legged roundabout with the curved option going into Radford Road. And again, always there's a possibility to make it through now, but that would be my motion.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll second that at this time.
Okay, so motion and a second to, the draft plan is to accept the design as it's on your screens today. The understanding that no money's been committed, other than acquisitions. Happens with future council, TBD, just like was your desire a year and a half ago to go to do a roundabout. Change your mind. Other discussion or comments on the motion to accept the conceptual plan?
Just one other comment that I would make, Jim. This is so that the citizens that are here and that anybody that gets this recording later knows that this is the option that we are going to proceed with at this given point in time. Thank you.
Anything else? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. The next item is consider bids for the Forest Hills detention project. Hey, hang on a second, I'm sure there'll be something to do.
You are.
Detention project. Yes.
Good to go? All right. So we opened bids last week for the Forest Hills Wetland Improvements Project. Wednesday, we did receive 3 bids, for this project. There were, in the letter to council, there were the options listed on the screen there. With the base bid and also some alternate options. We just put this together with alternates, try to, get the maximum we could out of the budgetary constraints we were working within. I don't know that recommendation be based on budget.
Recommendation council is to do the base bid only, to Eastern Iowa. The alternate 1 and 2 were considered, but giving the prices that they came in at, right now, we budgeted like $175,000, and with the base bid plus engineering costs, we're kind of bumping up against that budgetary threshold. We feel these other 2 things can be carried forward into a budget next year.
So you recommended base bid only, is that?
Yes, base bid only.
Have a motion.
I guess my question is the alternates, is it just they're too high, or is it just, I mean, how much is it gonna cost us a lot more to bring equipment back in to do it again, or would they, some savings by doing it all at once?
Yeah, so these alternates were added in, after the initial project was, brought to the table, and these don't have any direct impact on the Forest Hills Wetland project. So these are 2 storm drain outlets that need to be fixed at some point in the near future. That are within the neighborhood subdivision, so we figured we would add these into the Forest Hills project, and it's in the general vicinity of where the work is going on. But it won't have any immediate impact on the Forest Hills project itself.
So then in order to save on mobilization costs, we could always put those into another project.
Potentially, if down the road you want to maybe do a stormwater project or something.
So then I have only one more question then. The alt bids that we have here, 1 and 2, is there any 911 on any of this stuff, or is this just kind of when we get to it?
So the alternates you're saying?
Yeah.
There's also no general, it's not an immediate.
Yeah, okay, that's
why you can comment on that too.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no immediate need. Like
Oh.
Nate said, this was just stuff that was in the general area that we thought maybe we could get knocked out within the $175,000 budget, which clearly can't happen, so.
So you're still looking for a motion then? Then I make a motion to award the bid to Eastern Iowa Excavating, making bid only for $149,525.
Second.
The motion was second on resolution 174, 2023, for the contract based bid only for Forest Detention Project. Any discussion? Call roll, please.
Miller.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Delmeyer.
Aye.
Kiesling.
Aye.
Linkhammer.
Aye.
That's approved 5-0. Item D is resolution 175, 2023, resolution to authorize the mayor to sign purchase agreement for property at 5135 Asbury Road. Purchase price is $165.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Comments, discussion?
Good job.
Closing is
Aye.
Friday, by the way.
Okay. Nothing else, call roll, please.
Actually, 5 is next week and 2450 through the next one, Friday.
Oh, sorry, I got it mixed up.
All right, motion on, call roll, Lynn, please.
Miller.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Delmeyer.
Aye.
Kiesling.
Aye.
Linkhammer.
Aye.
That's approved. Then you have resolution 176, 2023, a resolution to authorize the mayor to sign purchase agreement for the property at 2453 Redford Road. Right, so it's 212. Question of just, so basically we got in there before the budget was last 30,000, like you talked, and it's gonna be kept in the state that we decided to sell it or rent it out and finish it. Still have that option. They haven't delayed any, we're gonna move it, but anyhow,
And they have 9 months.
yes.
Correct.
Okay,
And what about the stuff inside of it? They are taking them,
well,
what stuff is inside?
we heard that they're emptying out, and the mayor's taking their property out, but they were allowed to use it for the agreement. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. No, everything is to be left in there. I mean, they weren't taking anything out. They want to take the furnace, we said, no, we want to leave it to a point that it could be finished or sold. Okay, sorry, I was.
Motion to approve resolution number 176 of 2023.
I'll second.
Okay, before I say anything else. Anything else? Any other comment? Call roll, please.
Miller.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Delmeyer.
Aye.
Kiesling.
Aye.
Linkhammer.
Aye.
That's approved 5-0. Next item is resolution 177, 2023. A resolution related to the financing of proposed projects to be undertaken by the city of Asbury, establishing compliance and reimbursement bond regulations of the Internal Revenue Code.
At this point in time, I have this resolution set that we borrow right now to a maximum of $500,000. We haven't completed the purchase of the properties yet. What I plan to do with this borrowing is to pay for the purchase of the properties, to pay for demolition and any closing costs that are related to that. This is just basically an operation for us to go through and borrow this money subsequent to purchases, but this needs to be in place. So we will do the official borrowing probably sometime in January. And we'll have a more accurate number. It's gonna be 1.3 or 1.4.2.
What property are you potentially demolish?
We would potentially be demolishing, both, 2453 and, 5135. With both properties that we would be potentially, and also, the one that we're looking at on Asbury Road, 5163.
Ultimately, that's your decision. We're just saying, Beth wanted to do one motion, one proceeding, include everything. We're not saying demolish it, the same. If we do it, we have to go back and borrow again. That's all. we won't spend a dime more than you approve for purchasing.
Do we have enough covered as based on the fact that we put the rounded end in there? Do we?
Well, the rounded end would probably come out when we, get funding for the project itself. We're really just, for the cruising property, yeah, that's why we're a little bit higher, to 1.5, to get the cruising property in there.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 177 of 2023.
I'll second.
Have a motion second in discussion. Call roll.
Miller,
Aye.
Reich,
Aye.
Delmeyer,
Aye.
Kiesling. Aye. Linkhammer.
Aye.
That's approved 5-0. Next, you submit to the oath of office. Yeah. We have to find the lines.
I, David.
You solemnly swear
Yes.
that I will support
The Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my ability, discharge all duties of the office of council member, city manager, city Duke County, now and hereafter as required by law.
Thank you for your happiness.
Once again into the room.
It's the same.
All right.
I don't know. Okay, let's keep moving. We have, police report and gym report. Comments or motion to accept? Police report, gym report.
I'll make a motion to accept the reports as presented.
Second.
Can I make a comment before you put the motion to question? As far as the council member reports, one thing that's in there is we had Iowa State University come in and do that, rental readiness assessment. So the report that's included, the survey and their final report are, in there, for you to review. And, I think Karen and Raji, you participate in that process. So they finally got us the final report, so that's information for the council, but Mayor, you may also want to, talk about the letter to Ann Boker is in there.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
That's what we're talking about.
We have a motion to approve the gym reports.
Alright.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. There's a letter in there from a resident. I asked Officer Blakemore claiming to stand up to adjourn. I don't want to read it. You've got it in the packet. I struggle with putting it in public because, it was a personal issue with, the family, but they did send a letter and I know that I would share it with you. I want to thank these two specifically. I told them before, and I talked to Josh and Ferdinand as well, as I know our officers do this kind of time. They are everything to everybody, first responders, counselors. And again, it's not limited to these two, but, they went over and above, and the resident did take the time to thank them for it, and I would want to do their job, And I want them to at least step up tonight, so maybe you can say a word to them afterwards, them in general, and you can see the other officers. It's not an easy job, but they do it, and they do it really well, and usually we only hear about it when somebody doesn't like what they do, but this was the exception. I'm very, very thankful and very, very proud of both officers and our police force in general, so thank you. Bigger applause than we got, jeez. All right, so let's start roundtable.
Well, in case you didn't know, Santa comes in the fire truck Saturday, so be up.
Okay, Russ?
I think I'm good for right now.
I'm gonna say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a great New Year. Just don't get busted by Tom.
Ouch.
I'll let you follow that one, Greg.
I was just going to commend our police department as well. I know this time of year, because so often we're shopping and buying things, that there's more opportunities for theft, robbery, and you see with the advent of Amazon and the Port of Pirates, that it's something that I'm sure that our board is very diligent about in watching that. We don't hear a high instance of this happening in our community. And it is a nice community to live in. It is one that we feel safe in, and it is one that I think that we as a council, we do try to look at what is best for all the citizens and listen to the citizens as they voice their opinions. So thank you to everyone on the council. Thank you for the police department and all our public works, and have a happy holiday.
And I would say that it's so good that some citizens are actually recognizing the police officers for doing something good rather than just being speed trapped. That's all.
Okay, I'm not gonna give anybody a Merry Christmas like that. I just hope that staff gets a chance to take downtime over the next few weeks. We can go to meeting tomorrow and hope the town will bring breakfast. But
last time.
this time, but I do value and I'm very thankful for my staff. And I commend council with a very, very tough decision tonight, but you approached it the right way and you listened and you made the decision that you felt was right, and you should never feel bad about that. Beth, anything else?
Two things, you probably noticed the mic changes, so we did that this morning, so now when you press your mic, it stays on unless you turn it off, so I hope that's working well for everybody. The other thing is, we did make it live that you can look at the draft agenda, so I have the agenda up. When we skip up here where it says meeting, this is where, Jim, gave you the section where you have the option of either active or, draft agendas. Right now, we're looking at the active. There's no drafts. Right now, Sarah hasn't started the next meeting, but I can go back and show you. Up here, I do have a draft agenda out here for the Planning and Zoning Commission, so if I go in and look at the draft there, you can see where the draft shows up and you can go into it, same as any other meeting. And just remember, when you're looking at anything in the draft mode, it's not final, so it's very changeable.
And you have to be signed in, maybe they'll approve them.
Right, you have to be signed in to see the draft.
Oh, that's awesome, I love it, I was right on this.
It's
Thank you for the microphone, except for it's hot much.
Okay, any other questions on board documents?
Yeah, there you could also, if you're looking at the draft mode, when you come back the next time, you have to make sure you have the right ones. So if you're not seeing anything, try active.
Okay. Then I will very much welcome. A motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Adjourn microphone off for a second. I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I did.
I like that.